This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, good morning to you. Welcome on to your Thursday. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Welcome. It's First Alert Weather Breakdown time. It's 10:30 on your Thursday. We got the sun still out here for the day today. And enjoy it while it lasts, because coming up in this First Alert Weather Breakdown, we're talking all about the rain coming up, and there is plenty of it here into the Arctic. But I will say, it's one of my favorite days of the work week for First Alert Weather Breakdown. It's when we get all four meteorologists in on a Met Chat here for today. Yeah, today is Met Chat Day. For those of you, I know those episodes always seem to do. I don't know, some of the best episodes that we have here on the First Alert Weather Breakdown. I think it's because all you guys appreciate hearing from more than just me, but you appreciate hearing all the voices of the weather team. Me, CJ, Austin, and Matt. We all recorded this back on Tuesday, and we have a Met Chat, by the way, that will be on for today and tomorrow. For our typical Met Chat recordings, just so you know, we aim to make those recordings between somewhere in the ballpark of like 15 to 20 minutes. This one was 31 minutes. So we decided to break it up into two different parts. Part one will be today. Part two will come tomorrow to wrap up the work week. So look forward to coming back here here for tomorrow at 10:30 again on Friday. But as for today's episode, here's what we got on the docket. Here's the topic of that huge Met Chat that we have. It is a review of the 2024 Atlantic Ocean tropical season. We're going to essentially look at four of the major hurricanes that made impacts to us here in the Arctic and made lots of impacts to the United States as a whole this past year. The four of those names, just so you know, are Beryl, certainly, Francine, Helene, and Milton. We're going to go over all four of those storms in the Met Chat. This is part one. So part one includes us going over the first two storms. We're going to go over Beryl and Francine today. Then we're going to go over some of the more national storms that made certainly impacts elsewhere with Helene and Milton. We're going to go over that tomorrow. So stay tuned for tomorrow's Met Chat. But yes, for today, we're going to go over Beryl and Francine. And also, just so you know as well, as a precursor for later on, if it seems like the Met Chat just like randomly like pauses and then cuts to me, I did that on purpose. That's for me to obviously save the second half for tomorrow. But it'll be about a 15-minute Met Chat here for today, 15-minute Met Chat about, give or take, for tomorrow, essentially. But all that is after our local forecast. We still have that in store here for your First Alert Weather Breakdown, and then we'll hop on into that Met Chat. As again, if you have any questions or anything, hop on onto our YouTube page, KSLA News 12. Go to YouTube, and we're live there right now, and that's where you can type in the chat, and I'm going to answer any questions for you live during this entire podcast happening again right now, live. It's pretty cool. All right, anyways, let's get into the nitty and gritty of the local forecast before we go into, honestly, one of my favorite, I'd probably call it one of my favorite Met Chats of the year. But anyways, enough hype about the Met Chat. Let's get to the local forecast. Temperatures hanging around a little warmer here for today. We're now ranging into the lower 50s, around 10:30. 50 degrees in Shreveport, 52 for Texarkana, 51 in Natchitoches, 45 for DeQueen. All that's thanks to lots of sunshine. It's going to warm us up here for the day today. I will say you'll find a little more cloud cover than yesterday here for today, that is. A little more cloud cover around the Arctic, Texas. We're just starting to pick up on little bits of moisture, more and more every day, and eventually that's going to lead us to our next rain chance, which we'll discuss coming up. So here are our big headlines again. We have a warmer afternoon in store for today. Highs will be probably about 5 degrees warmer than yesterday, maybe 3 to 5 degrees, so to speak. Obviously a significant warm up, but maybe you might notice it just a little bit. And then we do have rainy days ahead for us. That's the big picture happening beyond today, and most of our focus is on that because not only do we have one significant rainy day on the 7-day forecast, we have three. We have 3 days on our 7-day forecast, which look to be filled with lots and lots of storms, sadly. 64 for Texarkana today. Well, let's first go over the initial headline, which again is focusing on today. The only change in store for today is mainly, again, the warmer temperatures for this afternoon. Rising by a solid 3 degrees or so, give or take. Highs mostly yesterday were in the upper 50s, maybe reaching up to 60 degrees barely. 64 today, mainly in Texarkana. 63 for Marshall. 62 in Carthage. 62 in Hemp Hill, which is right over my shoulder. Mike, get out of the way. There you go. 62 degrees in Hemp Hill. 63 in Nacogdoches. That'll be 62 in Gilmer. 63 for Mount Pleasant. Northwest Louisiana. 60 in Montgomery. 63 in Natchitoches. 63 also for Shreveport. I think you get the point. Lower 60s all around the Arklatex. And we're going to continue to warm up. 70. I'm kind of done with 70 degrees. I'm going to be honest with you. 70 degrees is probably returning here by Sunday as we continue to warm on up here around the Arklatex. This is a warming trend all the way into Sunday. Even Monday looks warm too before we start to cool down a little bit into next week. Not only are our high temperatures warming up, our low temperatures will also warm up too. I'm going to mention that a lot coming up in the 7-day forecast in just a little bit. But as for the wet weather, here's what's happening. Look off to our east, look off to our west, and then you kind of look at us, period, and we're kind of right in between two big air masses. Dry and cool is to our right, wet and warm is to our left, essentially. Or I guess I should say it in directions. Wet and warm is, we are wet, moist, and warm off to our west. We are dry, cool, and cold to our east, all under that high pressure system. But here's the thing, both of these systems are moving eastward. So high pressure and sunshine is moving away, and we're slowly welcoming in more and more moisture, which is welcoming in more and more cloud cover, and eventually that'll give us rain, which is tucked away with that cold front off to the west side of Texas. So guess what? When that high pressure system is finally gone, we're going to get a good surge from the Gulf, which not only gives us more moist air, but also gives us warmer air, hence the warming trend into the weekend. So a little bit of cloud cover here for today. That'll hang around, especially for tonight. And then by tomorrow, or even by first thing tomorrow morning, things are going to be a lot more cloudy around here in the Arklatex. Even with a stray chance of a shower. Can't rule out a stray shower here for tomorrow morning. And then there's the scattered rain that shows up on Saturday morning. So yeah, it looks like most of this is going to be hopefully coming through the day for the morning out, or coming through the day on Saturday, mostly in the morning hours, with a few storms still straggling behind for Saturday afternoon and also on for Sunday too. So if there's one spot of the weekend to not choose to do something outdoors, Saturday morning would be that time. As for your full 7-day forecast, 63 today up to, again, 70 for Sunday, and then highs are in the lower 60s for the middle of next week. The bigger story of things is the rain. Again, not only do you have scattered showers on Saturday, you also have it on Monday and Wednesday. It's just three systems coming one after another with a one-day break in between to briefly dry up around here. So, again, lots of rain is coming. At least you have the next 2 days that I will guarantee, I will at least guarantee you the rest of today will get completely dry. Maybe have a 10% chance of a stray shower getting into East Texas here for tomorrow. But overall, most of Friday should be pretty dry. So if you need to do anything last minute, maybe hang up some Christmas decorations. Maybe you put that on the back burner for too long. The weekend's not the best time to do that. Or if you got to mow the lawn another time, I would do that in either today or tomorrow. Hopefully today. So you don't wait until the last minute to do so, essentially. Last thing to look at with this is the low temperatures again. We've been having bitter cold 30s for mornings, even some of us getting down into the upper 20s for Wednesday and Thursday morning. Those bitter cold mornings are going to be held on pause for quite some time. Lows only getting down into the mid-40s tomorrow. They only get down to the mid-50s here for the weekend, and even a low of 62 to start off the work week on Monday morning. That is very mild and very warm, especially for this time of year before those finally start to cool down, but only back down into the 40s here for the middle of next week. All right, let's look at your local forecast. Guess what? The Met Chat is up next. Again, it's just part one. So, also, don't be surprised if all four of us entirely, or like one of the goals. Last thing I'll say is one of the goals of a Met Chat is to have all four of us kind of speaking equally. But since this was split up to a part one and part two, we have more people speaking in the part one than others, I guess, so to speak. And then we'll have more people that are quiet this episode speaking a little bit more, I guess, in part two, which will air tomorrow. So don't be surprised if that happens. Again, look forward to the Met Chat. The Met recording is up next after a quick commercial break, and then after the Met Chat, we're just going to go ahead and toss it away. But yeah, hope you enjoy the Met Chat after 2-minute quick break. Hope you enjoy it. See ya. Hey, welcome on to First Alert Weather Breakdown. I'm meteorologist Evan Thomason. Here with me, it's Matt Jones, CJ Cartledge, and also Austin Evans. Guys, we're going to hop straight into it because we have a lengthy Met Chat to discuss. This is all about tropics. It's the tropical season, as you know. It's come to an end. It's December now. It ends 1st of December. But it was certainly an eventful tropical season for the Atlantic season thus far, I will say. We'll go over some of the facts in just a moment, but we here at KSLA News 12 First Weather Breakdown, we wanted to kind of break down the season in a nutshell in one Met Chat, which I know is a lot to do because it's very impactful. We had a number of storms hit. In fact, I have over to my sides, we had a total of 18 named storms. 11 of them became hurricanes, and 5 of them became major hurricanes, which is all 3 of those are well above our typical averages for what we normally see in an Atlantic Ocean tropical season overall. So it left an impact certainly for some of us here in the Arklatex with some of these storms, which we're going to go over, and also for others as well, which we'll also go over. So what we're doing here in the Met Chat here today is we're each going over one storm. So we have 4 storms that kind of summarize the tropic season in a nutshell. We're going to go into each of these storms. 2 of these storms directly affected the Arklatex. 2 of them did not, but they definitely made a huge impact on how the continental United States or how other areas of the continental United States is faring, so to speak. So how I want to go about doing this is I want to go kind of in chronological order of how things happen from the first storm that hit of the season, kind of to the last one of our 4 storms that we're going to go over, which means the first one that hit this season hit us locally in the Arklatex with Beryl in July. I believe Austin has more on that. Austin?
Yeah. So Hurricane Beryl It'll be something that I'll never forget. And anyone that we all had a hand in working in that storm in some way. So chime in with something if something comes up to your head. But first Category 5 hurricane of the season. First and the earliest on record Category 5 in general. It happened. It became a very strong storm very, very quickly, very early in the season. And it was when we were looking at this days and days and days ahead of it making landfall here in the states. Probably very, very late June, we were starting to look at it. So peaked as a Category 5, did not quite make landfall as that here in the Arklatex. And obviously, we were heavily affected. And uh, this was a long day. First tornado warnings here in the region shot up probably about 12:17 in the afternoon. We were in the noon show when it happened. And from there, it was just constant coverage from that point on until what about 7 o'clock? Matt
Hmm.
and CJ, you eventually
Yeah.
uh,
Mhm.
stopped coverage. So it was an all day affair. It took all of our newscasts. Um, 67 total tornado warnings, with 43 of them being confirmed tornadoes. And obviously, that would have been multiple instances of the same storm. One person locally, unfortunately, passed away that I could find near Benton when a tree fell on a mobile home and injured a couple other people. Um, we had a tornado touchdown in Barksdale Air Force Base. That was another EF2. That was also the one that went on to unfortunately cause that fatality. Amongst other locations, not just here in the Arklatex, there were a total of 68 tornadoes with a maximum rating of an EF3. And this continued into July 10th. Uh, because like we were done with it by end of the day July 8th, but it wasn't done with the United States. So 43 EF1 tornadoes total for the entire event, 13 EF0, 2 EF unknowns, 9 EF2s, and 1 EF3. EF3 was the strongest one. Typically, with hurricanes, we don't even get up to EF3 strength with
Hmm.
tornadoes. They're like the hurricanes known for dropping tornadoes, but they're usually not long track, usually not super destructive. Well, this time we got one in the EF3. Overall, and I'm looking at this, and I'm actually seeing this number for the first time. Two fatalities total out of the tornado outbreak, um, and with 5 injuries, which is a rather low number considering the amount of places that the tornado outbreak in and of itself affected. The hurricane caused, unfortunately, 73 fatalities, 66 direct, 7 indirect. And I'm finding all of this information online. Some of this more esoteric stuff that we wouldn't otherwise, be directly affected by. But we were, I mean, we were wall to wall the entire time. The entire time the storms were heading over the Arklatex until things started to calm down and move out of our region. Actually, they weren't calming down at all. They were just moving out of the Arklatex. And that's when we were able to breathe and start putting the pieces together. And like I said, I wasn't the only one that worked that. Matt and CJ were very heavily involved in the nowcasting and coverage of it. And Evan, you were forecasting it the entire time with us. So, is there anything y'all would like to add to the storm? Because it's historic in a number of ways.
I mean, I'll just say that the one thing that really stuck out at me and Austin and CJ, where you were in there looking at the radar at the same time, and I'm sure Evan was as well, but I have never seen so many debris signatures on the radar at the same time. Because I think looking at the radar at one point, I think we must have had like 5 or 6 debris signatures like scattered. Like it was just crazy. Almost every warning had a debris signature. It was just crazy. I've never seen so many warnings actually end up being confirmed.
Yeah, I've discussed the accuracy rate of the warnings in the past. A very high accuracy rate, and we have glowed over the NWS Report office plenty on this particular forum. I think at one point we had 12 warnings going on all at once.
12.
And like you were right, I bet 8 of them had debris signatures. So
Yeah,
again, just
crazy.
it we think back to the day and go, wow, that was insane, but it actually was. It's a very unique, specific weather event that impacted a lot of the country, but I feel like it impacted us the most. The
Yeah.
Arctic got 47 of the 68 total tornadoes out of the outbreak. So, yeah, some stuff happened up in the Ozarks and the Mississippi Valley and the Ohio Valley, but I think the Arctic got the most of it. Us being in the direct line of
Hmm.
making landfall, and it makes sense. But easily, storm I ain't gonna forget anytime soon. That was Hurricane Beryl and its impacts on the
Hmm.
Arctic.
Yep.
It's terrible, man.
I'd like to share one story and then kind of move on to the next storm. I was talking with the National Weather Service actually last week about this, and we kind of referred back to the date of Beryl, which obviously again will go down as probably one of the most memorable weather days here in history, honestly, of the Arctic. To be quite frank, with the number of tornadoes that were confirmed and everything that day. Just kind of ending this on a little more of a lighthearted note. I when I was talking to the National Weather Service report that day, how hectic it was for them. They had someone knock on their door during the entirety of the weather coverage happening and going on, and it was a pizza delivery, and everybody at the station was like, "Nobody here ordered a pizza." Apparently, somebody at National Weather Service of New Orleans had ordered them boxes and
Oh,
boxes of pizza
wow.
to
Mm,
actually help themselves during that time. That was so
That's
nice,
awesome.
such a nice gift, and I just want to leave that on that lighthearted note there. So that was really cool for them and
That
the weather community gives, so to speak.
That's
So that was
awesome.
really
and
cool.
then imagine their confusion. They're eyeballs deep in 8 tornado warnings, and the pizza shows up, and the pizza guy probably not very tuned in to the like
the
current
chaos.
news happening.
Yeah.
Oh, it's raining real hard. What's going on? I've got to deliver these pizzas to the National Weather Service, and there it's the SpongeBob brains scene where they can't find his name. Uh, with the commotion going on, I love that. Good story. Thank you for telling us
Yeah.
that.
That
Of
is a good.
course. Yeah, I realized that from last when I talked to the National Weather Service last week. That was really cool. Anyways, moving on. We gotta move on. We got three more storms still to go over. I have the next one, Hurricane Francine, which is the other and second system that affected the Arctic this year. First of all, before I get into any details on Francine, it did not impact the Arctic nearly as much as Beryl did.
Not
It
Mm.
that we
did
were
give us
complaining.
not that
Yeah.
we're complaining. I will say though, I'll get into the details a little bit later, but it did give us a day's still full worth of rain, which I will go to in just a little bit. But Francine formed in the Gulf of Mexico as a tropical storm back on November the 10th. It made landfall the next day on November the 11th as a Cat 2 storm. That's how quickly this Gulf of Mexico can sometimes revitalize and really breathe in life into these tropical systems so quickly, just like that, for it to become a Cat 2 storm, with winds around 100 miles an hour, making landfall in southeastern Louisiana then, which was really crucial. And again, it made landfall as a Cat 2 storm by me looking up my research as well. Did you know this is the fifth storm of Cat 2 magnitude or higher that has made landfall in Louisiana in the past 5 years?
I
Wow.
believe it.
Fifth storm,
Makes
Cat 2
sense.
or
Yeah.
higher in the past 5 years. That is astounding to me because they
Mm.
deal with obviously these consistently, but especially having something along that magnitude so high, so consistently. I mean, the recovery efforts are just immense to be able to reach out and recover from each of these events almost every single year, annually at this point, which has been mind blowing and wild. So
Mm.
commend you to that. For those,
When was
especially
Francine again?
Francine hit in September 11th.
Oh, September. Okay, gotcha.
September 11th. Did I say something else?
You were saying
I-
November. Yeah.
November,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. I think
I thought I was
I
like,
think,
No,
I think
really late hurricane.
I think the 11/11 messed with my mind.
Yeah.
But it was September the 11th.
September,
It was
okay.
11th. Yeah, so it's middle part of September. So yes, most of what I heard from southeast Louisiana was it caused a lot of street flooding. Thankfully, Cat 2, it didn't do too much structural damage from what I heard. There was a little bit, especially closer to the high wall, which made more of a landfall. I wouldn't say directly on New Orleans. It made landfall kind of in the suburbs, a little bit to the west side of New Orleans. So there wasn't as much focus on it, but there was tons of street flooding from what I saw. Then that was ongoing for still 2 to 3 days, which definitely made an impact for lots of, again, videos of flash flooding around there. But the last thing I want to get to with this storm moving on through, as it moved up northward, it again provided a day's worth of rain still into the Arklatex. So it still gave us rounds of rain in the Arklatex. Again, no tornado warnings. I didn't. There was the tornado outbreak from Beryl. That did not happen with Francine at all. Just gave us a day's worth of rain. But one last thing I want to talk about with Francine, with the storm, is that this system. Looking back at my notes here. On that day of rain, it gave us 1 1/4 inch, 1.25 inches of rain from that day alone in September. Guess how much rainfall we had in Shreveport in the month of September? 2 inches and 1/4, 2.25. So guess what? It rained more on that day alone than the rest of September. That's how dry our September was. Kind of wild, honestly, in the grand scheme of things. So
And that might have been our first rain since Beryl.
Yes,
In
maybe,
between
yeah.
that, actually.
Right.
yeah.
So it just mind boggles me because it just stresses how dry it was in the Arklatex. So honestly, that rain was beneficial to us. That system was probably a good thing that happened for us because we didn't have anything around it. But again, for New Orleans and Louisiana, they still again had tons of flash flooding threats. Thankfully, wind damage wasn't too bad, but that's basically what I have on that storm affecting New Orleans. And I think the next one up is Helene, which I believe you were going over, Matt.
Yeah.
Unless any of
So,
y'all have any comments on Francine. Sorry.
I don't know. Do anyone else have anything on Francine?
I know we were watching it the whole time, and we
Yeah.
were like, "Oh no, is this going to be another one?" And then it pretty quickly looked like it wasn't going to be another one. So we were able to. I don't want to say relax because we were still, side eyeing that storm the whole time it
Yeah.
was moving through, but we weren't expecting anything major, and nothing major came.
We were on
Other
the
than
left side.
Right.
yeah,
The good
we
thing
were on
was the track
we were on
kept
the
good
moving
side.
good side.
eastward.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello. Welcome back to the First Floor Weather Breakdown Live. That was me pausing because that's the end of part 1. We will unpause the episode tomorrow for part 2, and you can catch the rest of that episode. See, that's about the halfway point. Again, as you could tell, me and Austin were the ones that went over the 2 storms we went over today. CJ and Matt will go over the 2 storms that we have in depth here for tomorrow. So if you want to hear more from them directly, they'll have your forecast for you then. As for today, that's a wrap up of First Floor with a breakdown. Again, part 2 of the tropical season. As I said, with Matt and CJ doing the majority of the talking here for tomorrow, talking about Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene. Both of those discussions will be held on tomorrow's Met Chat. Same time, 10:30. Hope you enjoyed the episode very much. Again, enjoy the sunshine while it lasts. We got rain coming back here for the weekend. Want to make sure you're weather aware. Stay First Alert with us here on First Alert Weather Breakdown again. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here one more day of the work week, 10:30 on Friday. As for me, I'm meteorologist Evan Thomas, and you have a great rest of your Thursday. Tomorrow, 10:30, again, Friday, part 2 of the episode. You be there, be square, most importantly, not or, but most importantly, always be weather aware. We'll see you tomorrow, 10:30.